Which man? But which man? Because there's so many different types of men. Even though you guys like to collectively gang up together, that doesn't mean that there's different types of men or not.
Basically, is that you're taking it to some extremes, and obviously within the context of the situation, within the context of the conversation, we're not talking about asking you to do absolutely heinous things like that. We're talking about within the boundaries of a normal relationship.
Yeah.
So nobody's going to ask their wife to go and sell their ass on the street, and nobody's going to ask their wife to rob a bank. Although if you did do it, that's pretty based. If you did to hide the body to rob the bank, that's based. But nobody's going to really ask them to do that.
Yeah, so, and one thing on that.
So I've just met multiple people like that.
Hold on. So, like, if you were to ask men who want a kind of more traditional dynamic and they want their woman to be submissive to them and they want to lead, I can't imagine you could find any man who would be okay with the following scenario. So, I mean, taking your examples to even more extreme, what if your man tells you to go jump off a bridge and delete yourself?
I'm supposed to be submissive to him.
No. Any man who's in favor of a submissive dynamic is going to say, no, that is beyond the scope of what we're talking about here when women should be submissive.
So maybe that's the confusion between today's man and a different man. No, because today's man will put you in the worst scenario and then expect you to be submissive.
What kind of guys are you dating?
Okay, but there's different type of people in the world.
So just to be clear, you've dated multiple men that have tried to prostitute you? I would have no issue with you not being submissive to them then.
I would, okay.
In fact, you should break up with a guy who's trying to get you to become a prostitute.
And
That's not a man of virtue. But
how are you to determine that in the first 10 minutes? Because you said that we determined that in the first 10 minutes that we're going to fuck with this guy or not. And then also, if you just walked into the house and someone says, take your shoes off, just walked into the house and they say, take your shoes off, and you don't ask why, isn't that the same thing as if you were with a man that had horrible fucking thought processes and thought like, oh yeah, like the only way for us to get money is if my girl goes out and fucking tricks niggas, right? So you
just like speaking, don't you?
No, but I'm making a point and you're trying to dismiss it.
That's actually
I'm with you.
Make the point.
Yeah, I mean, look.
You have to be cautious in this day and age. That's all I'm saying.
I think the conditions aren't based on what they're asking. It's based on how dominant are you. How dominant? Like, if I have to pay my own things, if I'm taking you out, I'm not going to be submissive. But if you're paying my bills and you're doing what you're supposed to do as a man, you're going to get blind submission.